Welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate, the podcast for real estate agents everywhere. You are now part of a group of real estate agents and entrepreneurs who want to make a difference in their lives. People who are looking for ways to create hacks into the real estate profession in order to make more sales and at the same time have more time off. Agents are realizing that the old ways simply aren't working for them anymore. They are working far too many hours and most don't enjoy a work-life balance. Get ready to explore ways to hack your real estate life. I'm Lisa B. Hi, this is Lisa B, and today I'm interviewing John Hellaby. John is from Check My House Price. And I've said it before, John is not the enemy. Check My House Price is a lead generation site where agents can pay a monthly fee for their postcode, and they have John and his team generate leads. So it's not a 20 to 25% referral fee or anything like that. They've been around since 2011 and they've brought in over $900 million in commission leads. So they know what they're doing as far as bringing in lead generation. So nearly $1 billion worth of commission leads, really. So today, John and I are going to be talking about all things Facebook ads. So these are things that you want to be doing, and lead generation. So instead of being out there door knocking and phone prospecting all the time, and you still want to might incorporate some of this in your marketing, get into the Facebook ads and the lead generation, and you might just be surprised at where this takes you and the amount of leads that you get. All right, so John, tell us a little bit about your background and particularly your experience in real estate as well.
Yeah, sure. Look, I started my working life very, very young. My parents founded an IT editorial company when I was about 10 years old. My father was an awarded journalist throughout the Southern Hemisphere, and he taught me to write. And so by the age of 13, I was writing a tech-based editorial and had been published in just about every major publication throughout Australia and New Zealand. And that led to me then founding an IT tech support company. And then when I sort of had kids and that sort of thing, I was working huge hours, and I decided to get out of that and moved into real estate. And I did sort of 3 or 4 years as a real estate agent. And it was as a real estate agent that my tech background sort of came into play. And I ended up building Check My House Price, primarily, you'll like this one, Lisa, primarily to get out of cold calling and door knocking. I had an argument with my principal. He wanted me to cold call and door knock. He said it's the only way. And I flat out refused to do it. And I can be stubborn when I want to be. And he kind of threw his arms. I went, fine, if you can find a better way, then you can do it. And so I built Check My House Price. And the first week of it being up and running, we generated 14 leads. And in the first year, it'd go on to generate like an extra 75 grand in gross comm for the company. And he kind of sat on the end of my desk and went, all right, you win. So, yeah.
Wow. How did you do that back then? Like, you had your IT background, but how did you actually do it? Like when you were sitting in the office, you went, okay, what did you put in place? What did you actually use to do it? I know it morphed into Check My House Price, but what was the very raw version of that?
The very raw version of that was a site that I look back on now, and I look at the visuals of it and I cringe, of course, as I guess we all do. We all look back at our school projects and go, oh my God, really? And look, essentially, it wasn't that far removed from what it is now. Yes, there's a little bit more tech in it, but because of my tech background and, one of the things that I learned throughout my life, working as a journalist, working in a small business, and having to understand marketing, having to understand my audience that I was writing for, was when I built Check My House Price, I applied that, and I applied the user comes first mentality. And so we designed it in such a way to make it so that the homeowners felt comfortable, and that filtered through into all of our marketing. So we had, it'd be letterbox dropping back then. So we'd go out and we'd letterbox drop flyers, and there'd be common threads between the flyer and the website so that they knew that the website they'd typed into and arrived at was exactly the one that was advertised on the flyer, and building trust. And, we looked into color psychology and things like that. But it was very, very simplistic in its modus operandi in that, we letterbox drop flyers, and the flyers advertised a free, I think we were using the term E-val or E-valuation or something at that particular point in time. And they just had to go to the website, fill out their details, and away they went. And, it hooked up with us. We provided the evaluation and then added them to a contact trail. We were using Locked On at the time and built a huge contact trail so that, we could keep in touch and build that relationship.
So you stayed on message. You used offline methods and online methods to sort of for the lead generation, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I see even now. We're in 2018, and it's one of the things that it doesn't matter whether you're marketing online or offline. It's lacking out there in the space is that there's not a lot of people stay on message. There's not a lot of consistency. What you're doing offline needs to be replicated or at least congruent and consistent with what you're doing online, because that consistency creates a link for your marketplace, for your audience. And if they have that link, they immediately feel comfortable because it's familiar. And if you think about how you feel when you walk into home as compared to when you walk into somebody's house that you've never walked into before, there's a level of discomfort going into something, into a property or into a home, into a location where you've never been before. And the similar sort of psychology applies in that if there is a common link between the marketing material and the website they're going to, or, the online and the offline presence, then there's familiarity, and that builds trust, that builds comfort.
Okay, so what do you do now exactly? Check My House Price. How do you actually achieve the results that you do? So if I wanted to sign up with you, what do you do? Can you tell me?
So, yeah, sure. Well, I've
without giving too much away.
We've got to be careful. There's been a lot of people try to copy us over the years, and they've successfully copied one or two components, but they've never got the full picture. And so that's what sort of keeps us ahead is we do everything we can to tick every single box. And look, what we do essentially, like if you were to sign up with us as an agent today, like we work with one agent per postcode. So assuming that your postcode's available, you sign up, we immediately get usernames, logins, and access to the agent control panel up and running. So you'd have that within 24 hours. And then that triggers a series of events where my marketing team, who are overseen by me, because look, it gets impossible to run 300 campaigns by yourself each month, So I've now got a team around me. We build within 72 hours. You'll have a marketing campaign that's up and running, specifically focused on social media, primarily Facebook, and it will be targeted directly to homeowners in your postcode. So we're specifically targeting it, and we're creating ads that are relevant to that particular postcode. And then essentially what happens, the homeowners see those ads, the call to action, they click through, come through to the Check My House Price website, and then of course fill out their details and make a request for a free property price report. That request comes direct through to you.
Perfect. So what's the best results you've gotten for real estate agents, and how have you done that? Like how some areas better than others? Like do you kind of split test everything? Like, I'm just curious as to different areas.
It's a numbers game, It is definitely a numbers game. Obviously the bigger postcodes with more population are always going to perform better just because it's a bigger pond to fish in, so to speak, with more fish in it. The best results, we're on target. Actually, 2018 is on target to take the cake. I've got one agent who I won't mention his name, but he rang me about 3 weeks ago and he said, John, I just want you to know I'm on target to do $500,000 in gross commission just from Check My House Price leads alone.
Wow. That's incredible, isn't it?
Blow me away. My immediate reaction was, I'm not charging you enough.
Yeah, exactly. We need to work a commission.
To be honest, that's just me joking around, because it's never like we've never taken a referral fee, and we never will. It's not what we're about. We're about helping agents build their business, but we can generate the leads, and I think our current record on a postcode basis is we've generated 67 leads in a month, in one postcode. In a month.
Wow. But Facebook doesn't work, does it? Facebook advertising doesn't work, does it?
Apparently not. It's a gimmick.
For the people that say it doesn't work, it's going to go away.
It's just a gimmick. It's just a gimmick. And that was 100% through Facebook, and keep in mind too, that agent paid us $249 for that month. So it worked out at less than $4 a lead, and that's our record. We average sort of between 10 and 20 depending on the time of year, because as we all know, real estate fluctuates and real estate activity fluctuates season to season. But that one's awesome. But where we're at right now, so over the last 8 years, 7 years. I'm getting ahead of myself. Over the last 7 years, we've just crossed a milestone mark, and that we've generated over $900 million worth of commission leads for our agents.
Wow.
And that's actually the value of the commission check. It's not the value of the property. We don't care about that. We look at what's the actual value of the commission check and the commission opportunity that we've put in front of the agent. And it's up over 900 million now. So we're very close to the billion mark. We're going to throw a big party when we hit that.
Yeah, commission available. Wow. All right. So what's 5 tips that real estate agents can use now to source online leads? What do you think would be 5 things that they can work on straight away?
Oh, they can work on straight away. I think, look, the biggest one, and this, it may not be something that's easily actionable on an individual agent level, but as an agency. So if you're a principal listening to this, this is something that you need to be very much across. And it's going to take a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie. It is going to take a little bit of work, but you've got to control your data. Your data is the future of your business. It's where your profit is in the future. It's your lead bank. It's your future bank. And I'm seeing too many agents who are still, running a boost campaign or a listing campaign on Facebook, and they're sending the people who click through to realestate.com or to domain.com, to one of the portals. And the thing is, you're giving that data away, but you're also giving control of that data away. And it's adding insult to injury that they then turn around and sell that data back to you. You're paying to give them the data that then they're turning around and selling back to you. So control your data. If that means that, you're not quite sure how to do that, look, maybe Lisa and I can put something together. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, Lisa, but maybe there's some sort of audit that you and I together can do to look at, how they're using Pixel, how they're using analytics, what their systems and processes are to help.
Sounds good.
That data is so ridiculously important that it literally is your future. So that's your first one.
Yeah.
And your next
but also
one,
too, can I just add? Can I just add something to that point? One is like, then you've also got the traffic coming to your website, because that's the thing that concerns me is when you are diverting, say you've listed a beautiful house for $1.5 million and you're diverting that inquiry to realestate.com, all of a sudden that $1.5 million house is competing with all the other houses for $1.5 million that are listed with another agent.
Yeah.
So, that concerns me as well. You want to sort of keep them on your website. And I understand there's a few agents out there now that are using realestate.com and domain.com to their advantage in other ways. They're still diverting traffic to their website and to Facebook and all that sort of thing. They've sort of got different strategies, but I'm kind of with you. I like to keep it, I like to own the real estate, if you like, I don't want to be renting it out to somebody else, my inquiry, I want to own it. I want to get it to me. I want that buyer to come onto my website and register onto my buyer alert and, be my client, not realestate.com. So I agree with you.
You've touched on something perfect there as far as a metaphor goes. We're all in the real estate game. We're all in the property game. We understand. And so what Lisa and I are talking about here is it's very much the difference between owning an investment property and renting someone else's investment property. And the question is, when it comes to your data, do you want your data to be paying off your investment property, or do you want to be paying off somebody else's investment property? And that's exactly what it comes down to. If you're sending data away, you're paying off somebody else's investment property. It's rent money, right? It's the same as paying rent. You're paying somebody else to pay off their asset. Whereas if you own the asset, then you can actually profit from it. And that's the big difference.
Yeah.
That's the key thing to wrap your head around, I think.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you. Okay. Tip number 2.
All right. Number 2. Retarget your marketing. So I've gone control your data to retarget your marketing, and that's retargeting your data as well. So much happens in the online space. There's a lot of noise there. There's, probably not quite as much as out there in the real world where we're seeing signs and all that sort of stuff everywhere, because that's pretty well flooded. But there's still a lot happening in the online space. But not only that, the online space is influenced, like our audience and our market is influenced by what's happening in their world at that particular point in time. And you might be going, well, where are you going with this, John? Think of it this way, right? We know, and we've had it jammed down our throats by every sales trainer, since Brian Tracy first decided to pick up a microphone, that most sales don't happen on the first contact. The vast majority of. Now, depending on who you talk to, it could be anywhere from 80% to 99% don't happen on the first contact. And the more contacts you make, the more likely you are to be getting that business. What's happening in the space at the moment, and particularly in digital, is agents in particular are putting out campaigns, and those campaigns are all they do. So they're putting out a listing campaign, and that's it. Now, they're getting people who are engaging with that campaign, and they then are getting distracted or are not taking action on it, even though they've demonstrated interest, which brings me to my third point in a second. But if they're demonstrating that interest, right, you need to then be retargeting them and putting a call to action in front of them, because that's that extra contact point. It's that reminder, hey, you're interested in this, you should be taking action on it. And most online
explain for the people. Sorry. I was just going to say, can you explain for the people that don't understand retargeting what that means for people that have never done Facebook ads?
Absolutely. Think of it. I wonder if I can provide a video for you, Lisa. There's a great video I've done with archery and that shows it. Look, typically speaking, when you put an ad out, you have a general idea, right, of who is going to be interested in it. So you'll put it out in front of the people and typically speaking, there's going to be a broad audience or a lot of people in that audience that you feel might be interested, right? And what retargeting is now, the people from the broad audience will then interact with that piece of marketing that you put out, okay? Whether it's watching a video, whether it's clicking and commenting on a post. And through that, those people have demonstrated interest. So they're actually your true target market, your hot target market of interested people, right? So your first step, it goes out to a broad audience. Retargeting is then putting a very specific ad in front of the people who have taken action to demonstrate their interest. Does that make sense, Lisa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. So it's like when you go onto Facebook and you like something, and then you go onto Google and there's that ad again, and then you go onto Facebook and there's that ad again, and then you think these people are following me around, but that's somebody that's actually retargeted and they are actually following you around.
Yeah, I've seen it. In fact, we've put together campaigns and structures that involve retargeting for agents, where I've actually seen their retargeting ad pop up in games on iPads, like the game. If anyone's ever been to my webinar, I use this example in the webinar because it even blew me away. Like, I understand the power of this platform, but surprised me, right? And there was this agent's friend was actually playing a video game like on his iPad, and it was one of those theme park builder style games, kind of like Farmville, but it's a theme park, like you build your own dream world or Disneyland or whatever. And there's this billboard in the theme park itself. And
really?
Yeah. I've got a screenshot. Yeah, and there's the image of ad image that we created for this agent on the actual billboard in the theme park, and that's from it's part of the retargeting. Yeah, and the thing was,
how cool is that?
It blew me away. Like, I knew the power of it because at that time, I've been training for strongman, and I was looking for home equipment for strongman. So I was looking at power cages and racks and everything like that. And when I was on Gumtree, his ad kept popping up. At the time I was reading about the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, and his ad kept popping up in between paragraphs in every article I'd read and everything like this. And I'm like, yeah, this retargeting's dope. It is working hard out. And then I got this image, and there it is inside the game. Like, he's being marketed, like, talk about product
that
placement,
is
right?
Nuts.
It blew me away.
Yeah,
but that's the power
nuts.
of it.
And that is the power. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Oh,
so where are we up to now?
I'll send you the link in on Facebook Messenger so you can see what I'm talking about. It's crazy.
I'd love to.
All right. So number three. And this is, I guess, sort of furthering on from the second tip, and that is that it's really important that we start to wrap our head around what interest actually is in this day and age in the digital space. And attention and action So when I say action, I'm talking like clicks through to your website, likes on a post on your page, watching a video, etc. That's a demonstration of interest, because we live in an instant gratification society, right? Like, we're getting to the point now where we can open up our phone and in a few taps, we can order just about any food we want to be delivered to our door. You know, I don't know if we're getting lazy or if we're more time poor or whatever it is, but we're definitely a big fan of convenience, and we're definitely a big fan of instant gratification. And so what that means is we don't give our attention or our time to anything that doesn't interest us. So if you've put up a video of a listing, right, and let's say it's a 2-minute video, and somebody watches that for 90 seconds or a minute 50 seconds, the fact that they've given that amount of time is a huge indicator that they're actually interested in what you're putting in that video. And this is a hot tip straight from Facebook HQ. I trained directly at Facebook headquarters in Sydney for Asia Pacific headquarters. And they said their numbers, this was sort of last year, their numbers were that the average amount of time somebody spends watching a video on Facebook is 28 seconds. So if somebody's watching 3 or 4 times the average of your video,
that's huge.
They're interested, and you need to be putting a call to action. So you need to be retargeting, putting a call to action in front of those people, because they're your interest. They're your hot buyers and sellers, right? They're the people, they're watching that because they want to buy it, or they're considering about selling their property.
And so is retargeting easy for people that wanted to give it a go themselves? I know you do that for people, but if somebody wanted to do it, is that easy for somebody to do, or is it a little bit more difficult?
Look, it is actually easy. It's a couple of steps, like probably a 3-step process off the top of my head. But the biggest roadblock people have is it requires you going into Ads Manager to create audiences on Facebook. And the second people see the Ads Manager screen, they immediately, they have a little bit of a freak out, and they're going to break something and so off. And look, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook, and I can tell you the biggest mistake that you can make is accidentally adding an extra zero to the budget of the campaign, right?
Yes.
That is the biggest mistake that you can make. And it's really important to try and get through that initial fear, because it's a very logical, well stepped out platform that it actually directs you at every step of the way. So when you start clicking things, it'll say, hey, it looks like you're trying to do, but it's far better than that Microsoft paperclip that used to annoy us all throughout the 90s and early noughties, right? And it will guide you a little bit. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually really, really, really easy to use. It's just getting past that initial fear.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook are putting, so many more things in now too, aren't they? Like face recognition, like with your live videos and all that sort of stuff. Like, so they're adding lots of different things all the time, aren't they? To make things easier and all that sort of stuff.
The power of it's ridiculous. In fact, it was only just this morning in one of the high-level groups that I'm in. So I'm part of a number of different training groups and organizations with, high-level marketing agency training, Facebook training. And someone actually pointed out that the face recognition technology that Facebook is using is actually more
better
powerful
than the FBI.
Yes, better than the FBI's face.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that too. The FBI will be subscribing, won't they?
Well, that's it. Well, I mean, that's it. They'll sit there and go, "Hey, how much to purloin your facial recognition?"
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's crazy the data they have on us, and all that sort of thing, isn't it? Like, just insane. They know everything. They could preempt what we're going to buy, what we're going to do, who we're going to contact. Like it's just nuts.
In fact, actually, I've always been the guy sitting there saying, "Just wait, Instagram's not ready yet. Instagram's not ready. They haven't quite tapped into the Facebook data stuff and everything like that." And I sat there just on the weekend, and I was thinking about it, and I realized in the last fortnight I've spent over $400 on Instagram, and I've gone, they've got it right. It's time to start really looking at Instagram, because they've Yep.
No, it is. Instagram is the next one, isn't it?
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think we're up to number 4, are we?
Yes.
Excellent. Number 4. All right. Use good lead generators, right? Use good lead. And when I say good ones, look, of course, I'm going to do a self-plug and say, use Check My House Price if you can. But look, the really important thing here is use lead generators that aren't going to rip you off or harass and bully you, right? Like, if
or
you're
take you to court for the referral fee.
Exactly. You know, for a client that you've had on your books for 3 years and things like that, you know, look, if you want to pay a referral fee and you're happy to pay one, go for it. Like, absolutely. Like, they outmarketed you, as GT often says, you know, they outmarketed you, and pay them the referral fee. But make sure you're using ones that are going to behave ethically, that aren't going to bully you and harass you and so forth, and that also aren't going to make you engage in a reverse auction or a race to the bottom, right? Where you have to bid for the business against other agents, and it comes down to cost-cutting mentality. It didn't work for Ansett, and it didn't work for Virgin. You know, in the late 90s, they were in an absolute war against each other, and they were continuously cutting costs. Richard Branson, if you ever read his book, he was about to pull the plug on Virgin Australia, and literally 4 hours before the press conference, he got the call to say that Ansett had gone under. And so
I remember that. And then ended up getting the terminals and all that sort of stuff, didn't he?
That's it. And that changed the whole business. It was just that 4 hours later, he would have been pulling the plug. So don't engage with lead generators that require you to compete and cut your own cost in order to get the business, because nobody wins in that. You know, look for lead generators that are genuinely interested in building your business, who will support you, and you know, where you get a fair suck of the salve.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Cool.
And if for anybody in America that's listening to this, fair suck of the salve means you have a fair go. Yeah.
I didn't realize we had people from America. G'day, guys. Fair suck of the salve means it's just a fair go. You know, a good deal. A good deal where everyone's being looked after. All right. Number 5.
That's right.
Number 5. This one's going to annoy a lot of agents, Lisa. I'm going to make them do
go.
it. They're not going to like it.
Hit me.
Content is vital, right? It used to be that it wasn't. We didn't really need content and things like that. But look, as with everything, every marketing platform, every bit of space that we get to promote our wares, it always evolves. And it's now evolved to a position where content is vital. Now, before the brigade jumps on and goes, but Facebook's killed organic content and everything like that, let me say you should have been paying to play, right? You should have been paying to play for years now, because it's always been on the cards that was going to happen. Paying to play engages the Facebook ads platform, the retargeting, the audience building capability. But content.
So sorry, you mean content on Facebook, you mean?
Content on Facebook, on all of your social media. Like if you're on Insta, be pumping out content, because content, it positions you in your marketplace, right? And the thing is, and I'll hopefully get a chance to get into this in a little bit, but the thing with content is that in positioning you, it allows you to be authentic, and it's important that you are authentic, because you get positioned, you establish authority, you establish trust through your content, and you also attract the type of clients that you are best suited to dealing with, that you enjoy dealing with, and so forth. So you're sort of building your business through that positioning, and you're building a following of like-minded people, right? Which means business actually gets easier when you're working with people who share the same sort of values as what you do. But content, it should be the first level of any marketing campaign you do, because it does position, it does create authority, it does build trust, it does position you. But as well as that, it allows you to find who's actually interested based on their interaction. So remember, if we jump back to point number 2, based on their interaction, right, it allows you to pull out those people that are interested and put a very specific call to action in front of them. So content is vital.
Yeah. Content is king, they used to say.
No,
100% agree. And that content could be videos, that content could be blog posts, it could be photos, it can be anything that your marketplace is looking for, and you know, and that is going to help them. And then, as you said, you know, once they do like it, then you've got the targeting aspect of that as well. Perfect.
Absolutely.
All right. So what are 5 tips that you would give real estate agents to do with Facebook ads? Ooh. So the ones that you've seen that have failed miserably, the ones you've seen that have been successful, what are 5 tips that can be negative or positive? You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, I think I touched on it briefly. I'm going to jump on and take this opportunity to go talk about authenticity. I think authenticity is absolutely key on Facebook. You know, we've come through, I'm a child of the 80s, and you know, the 80s were all greed is good, and then the 90s were the hangover from that, where people were realizing that no, maybe greed's not good. But you had all the snake oil salesmen throughout the 80s who, you know, dressed a certain way and so forth, and so we sort of went back to the IBM salesman look, you know, that was the trusted look, and we gravitated towards that. And then in the noughties, you know, the snake oil salesman went, oh, hang on, if we dress like the IBM salesman, we're going to be automatically trusted. And that's now graduated to a point where we're all jack of it. We're all jack of you know, anything that's fake. And it doesn't matter. Like
product placement, Rolex.
Yeah, the whole works. Like, you know, we're so jack of it. And I mean, I'm the classic example. It's a mission to get me in a suit. I must admit, I have started wearing them recently because I found a beautiful blue suit that I absolutely love. But until then, you were more likely to catch me in a live-in t-shirt and jeans than you were a suit, because that's me. And like, if you look at my Facebook lives and things, more often than not, I'm in a live-in polo or a live-in t-shirt. And look, you've got to be authentic. You have to be, because people's BS meter, I'm trying not to swear, Lisa. I'm so passionate about this one that every now and again the swear word slips in. But people's BS meter is so finely tuned now. And on social in particular, you know, we are so alert and so ready to go, hey, that's rubbish. You know, that's a scam. That being authentic is the only way to cut through that noise, right? And so if you are authentic, you're actually kind of going against the flow a little bit still, because there's so much of that scammy rubbish out there that people will automatically gravitate towards that. And then it comes back to, look, you know, if you are being authentic, you are sharing your values, you're demonstrating your values, and people are going to gravitate towards that if they share those same values. And it's so much easier to work with people that you see eye to eye with.
Yeah. Can I just give you an example of that?
Sure.
I did an interview during the week with an agent who's very much out there and, you know, very much controversial and everything. And I did an interview with him, and you have no idea how many people have called me, text me, and just said, wow, you know, I formed an opinion of that person based on what I saw. And I've totally changed my opinion on that person. You know, Jeff Luby rang me this morning with that and was just saying, wow, you know, it's you know, the power of social media and the power of being authentic and, you know, and sort of telling people exactly who you are and, you know, people relate to you. And so that was a really big one, you know, and like I said, I can't tell you how many, you know, messages and all that I had. So I agree 100%. If you're trying to be somebody you're not, people are going to see through that.
And sooner or later you're going to get found out, and it hurts you in a major way. There's a story that Brian Tracy tells. I think I've referenced him a couple of times now. But you know, I love listening to his stuff when I used to walk and train and that sort of thing with earphones in. And one of the stories he tells, talks about Colin Powell, who I think he was the former Secretary of State for the United States or something to that effect. And he said, Colin Powell talks to the tea lady the exact same way, with the exact same difference and respect that he talks to the President of the United States. The man is 100% authentic, regardless of whether he's talking to you one-on-one or he's standing at a podium addressing thousands. That authenticity and consistency is absolutely vital and is a key to success on a large scale, because people will respect it and they will connect.
Yeah, 100%. And you attract like with like then. You know, you're going to attract the people that are your people that relate to you.
That's it. I love that phrase, your people. I'm so big on attracting your people, because, you know, when you're working with your people, and by that I mean, you know, the people that share your values, that share that you see eye to eye with, right? It's not about race, creed, or anything like that. It's just about people who have similar values to you. You know, business is so much easier, and you achieve so much more together, because it's not like you're trying to swim upstream. You know, you're going with the current.
Exactly, like-minded.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
All right, number two, obey the 20% text rule. please do. Facebook has a rule in that you must obey. You must have less than 20% of your screen and image real estate in an ad. The screen real, got myself tongue-tied. Essentially, only a maximum of 20% of the image can be made up by text, right?
Yeah.
So always have less than 20% text on your images, in your videos, and so forth. And this is a huge one, because what people aren't realizing until it happens to them is if you go over that 20% text, Facebook will limit, it'll actually punish your ad, right? So it'll limit the number of people it can get in front of. And then your ad's underperforming, and it's costing you a whole lot more money to get in front of more people. But if you're excessively over the 20% text rule, Facebook will just ban the ad. It'll just shut it down and won't show it. Right? So you end up dead in the water. So obey the 20% text rule. This goes for static image as well as video.
Yep. And what's the link that people can check that? There's a link on Facebook that you can actually put your photo in, isn't there?
The best way to find it,
Do you remember?
The best way to find it is go to Google and type into Google Facebook text overlay tool. And it'll be the first link on there, because the actual link itself is a bit complicated. But it'll be the first link that comes up on Google.
Yep, perfect. Okay, great.
And that allows you to upload the image.
Yep, good tip.
Number 3, use video. Always use video. Video is being pushed so hard by Facebook at the moment, it's almost bordering on the ridiculous. They see themselves as competing with YouTube. And so they're trying to get as much video out there and into feeds as possible. And what this means is the official line from Facebook is that video will get in front of 3 times as many people as what your static image will, right? Our testing has shown that a good video will get in front of 5 times as many people for the same cost.
Yeah, wow.
So it's ridiculously powerful. But there's a whole lot more to it as well. If you're getting on video, you're giving people in your marketplace everything they need to develop a one-way connection with you. So, there's the old saying, we were given 2 eyes, 2 ears, but 1 mouth, right? 80% of the information we take in communication is nonverbal. So everything that we look at, and all of that body language, those mannerisms, the tone inflection, language patterns, and so forth, that all comes through on video, and it gives your viewer everything they need to make the decision as whether or not they can trust you. So video allows you to build that trust without actually having to be in front of the person.
100%.
So it's immensely powerful. And it's actually got the most powerful and best retargeting capability of anything on Facebook.
That's a good tip too.
Yeah. You can retarget people based on how much a video they watch. So you can retarget based on whether they watch 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 25%, 50%, 75%, or 95% of your video.
95%, they love you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they're watching your video, like no one watches the last 5%, because usually that's credits or black screen or whatever. If they're watching 5% of your video, they are hooked in.
Yeah, that's right.
Putting an offer in front of them ASAP.
Yeah, good tip. Good tip. Okay. All right. Next one.
Understand this is important to wrap your head around. Understand that not all likes are created equal. There's a lot of agents who will put out a competition and they'll actually breach Facebook terms and conditions and make it a condition of entry and state you've got to like and share, right? Now, you can like a post and
Are you talking Easter egg?
Oh, I'm talking Easter egg. I'm talking every competition, right? It can be Mother's Day hamper. May the 4th be with you, the whole works. Every time there's any competition running, at least 50% or more of agents are actually in breach of Facebook page guidelines and could have their page shut down if Facebook decides to get narky on it. And Facebook change their mind on how they're going to handle things and whether or not they're going to be narky on a weekly basis. So it's better to play by the rules than not. But with these like and share competitions, for example, if they share the post, that then goes out to the people on their Facebook page. They could have, their Facebook profile. They could have people from Uganda, Nigeria, the UK, anywhere in the world, right, that then come and try and enter your competition. Now, all of a sudden, you might gain 1,000 likes, but how many of them are actually relevant to your business, right? And a lot of agents, look, I'm trying to help lazy agents as well as dedicated ones here. a lot of agents will just boost a post to the people that have liked their page.
Yeah.
They won't geographically, limit it, which means that they're going to be spending money to put marketing in front of people who are not even in the same country, let alone the same farm area.
Yeah.
So it's really important that your likes are relevant to your business. And so they're coming from your patch, your area where you can service. And they're people who actually could look to employ you and to use you in the future. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting money retargeting them. But you're also going to have a Facebook page that has very, very limited activity on it, very, very limited engagement, which is going to hurt your ads, and it's going to hurt any hope of organic reach.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about real estate agents is that it is very localized, the market, isn't it? So for targeting and all that sort of thing, it is, the Facebook marketing platform, it is the most powerful targeted marketing platform in the history of the planet. And it's almost like it was tailor-made for real estate agents, because you can literally drop a pin on a house and target a 1 kilometer radius around that house if that's what you wanted to do. Yeah. It's immensely powerful. Like I remember, I think it was Gary Vee. That said, companies will spend, millions of dollars on Super Bowl ads, right? And he said, they're spending those millions and millions of dollars. When they start to go, wow, we can do this over Facebook instead, and just dominate every single area, he said it's going to be too expensive for the rest of us, once the corporate giants get in and really, see the power of Facebook. It's so cheap now compared to...
But you know what, Lisa? They're starting to wake up and they're starting to come on Facebook, and they're still screwing it up. They're doing what I refer to as Madison Avenue marketing, right? So what Madison Avenue marketing is, hey, let's spend $1 million on advertising and marketing, right? And if we then generate $3 million in sales, we'll make $1 million profit. So we, $1 million in marketing, $1 million in product creation, and fulfillment, and then there's $1 million clean, and that's a win. To give you an idea of the power of Facebook, so let's put aside the $900 million worth of leads, right? That's commission opportunity that we've created for agents. Let's look at just the amount of commission that has converted so far, right? There's over $100 million in actual commission checks that have converted. We spent $376,000 to turn that into over $100 million worth of actual commission checks, right? It worked out for every $1 an agent paid us, we paid them back $89. Wow. So Madison Avenue marketing.
That is so powerful.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? And that's the platform. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like to put a hat on and go, hey, I'm a pretty good Facebook marketer, but I'm under no illusions. I have at my fingertips the most powerful targeted marketing platform in the history of the planet. And I get Facebook to do the heavy lifting for me.
Yeah. And as we said, it's doing it now, and Facebook changes all the time. Like they changed algorithms and they changed it. Oh, from now on, we're not going to do this tomorrow. We need to get in and do this stuff now and get good at it now and work it and use it, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to come in and take that ability away. So it's really something people need to jump on now.
Well, you need to be building your audiences and building up your dedicated, interested target audience. And then trying to convert them into open home visits, convert them into email addresses and mobile phone numbers for follow-up and things like that. So regardless of what happens, you've got that data. Control your data.
Yeah, exactly. And I follow a lot of the top internet marketers, and I have for the last 10 to 12 years. And there are a couple of them that said, oh, Facebook marketing's dead, Facebook pages are dead. And I actually took their advice and I stopped building one of my pages on Facebook, and I could kick myself, and I look at them now and they're busy trying to build their profile back up again. Yeah. But, they said, oh no, it's not where it is. It's on YouTube or it's this or whatever. And so everybody, all of their people that followed them, went and did what they did. And now there's this big gap in a lot of the Facebook pages and all that sort of thing. So you've got to be careful who you listen to as well. Even the top gurus get it wrong.
They do. Look, they do. None of us are perfect, but I think that one, it was such a knee-jerk reaction, because I watched it myself and I laughed when I saw it, because there was something that I felt that they all missed, that I read, because I read the announcement and I reread the announcement. I went through it several times, looking at it, because I'd already had people in my ear saying, oh, organic's dead, Facebook pages are dead, you might as well blow it all away and so forth. And
if you don't pay for them, they are. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, my attitude's always been pay to play anyway, because then you've got the control, right? But there was this little paragraph in the announcement that I don't know if they skipped over or they didn't understand it or what it was, but it essentially said that Facebook will be changing newsfeed to focus more on, yes, friends and family, like posts from friends and family, but also posts that foster engagement and create a sense of community, right? And engage community. So more sort of community events and so on and so forth, and enhance that. And it can be a community based around a person, right? It can be Lisa B, social media for real estate, and you've got a little community, and you're engaging them based around what's happening in that Lisa B social media for real estate community, and you're still going to get organic reach.
Yeah.
And so while everyone's panicking, I went and I tested it. Now, Lisa, I train for Strongman. It's one of my little hobbies outside of what I do with Facebook marketing. One day I hope to be able to market myself as the strongest Facebook marketer and trainer on the planet. Got a way to go yet, but I won my first Strongman event on the weekend, so I'm on the right track.
Awesome.
But what I started doing is I posted a couple of videos about my Strongman stuff. I posted a Facebook Live about my Strongman stuff. And it was in amongst me doing Facebook Lives on Facebook tips and how to Facebook market and, other articles that I was writing about that sort of stuff as well. And in doing that, my organic reach has been between 25 and 50% of my page followers. Now, organic reach hasn't been that good in 2 years.
Exactly. So I don't get it. These companies that have said, we're now closed because of Facebook, this page is now closed. I don't get it. How can it be? What they just don't want to spend money on ads? Is that what it is? Did you hear about some of the businesses that have closed?
Yeah.
How does that work? I don't get it.
Look, I think it's they don't want to spend money on ads because they don't understand the platform. But I think they're just getting bad advice too. They're getting advice from people who are buying into the panic. And the thing is, every time Facebook changes something, there's some level of panic, right?
Yeah.
There always is. I think as a species, psychologically, we don't like change. So we all go into a bit of a panic mode at times. But I don't want to ever bag anybody out or anything like that. But to me, it just seems like people aren't dotting their I's and crossing their T's. They're jumping the gun without reading something in depth and really wrapping their minds around it, but also without then going and testing it.
Yeah. And I guess, investigating. Okay, well, this doesn't work. Well, what else can we do rather than just go, that doesn't work anymore, let's close the doors. I mean, there's probably a lot more to it. And I don't know the story, but just from what I've heard, the algorithms changed, so this business is closed. The algorithms changed, so this business is closed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I watched one, I think it was the Democratic Socialist or something like that. And, I looked at their page and their announcement on it. They had 50,000 followers, and a post that they made only reached 500, right? So what are we talking there? 1%.
Yes.
1% organic reach. And I looked at the post.
Yes.
And the post didn't foster engagement. It didn't foster community and engage people or anything like that. It was heavily self-promotion and it was all about them. And I'm like, well, hang on, that's something you should have paid for, right? You should have paid to get that out. So I think, it's just
not understanding.
It's a lack of understanding and holding tight to that. It's all about me. And the marketplace is, it's almost like a reversal of roles, right? The marketplace is very much all about themselves, right? They don't care what's going to affect you. They only care what's going to affect them. So the way that you have to market is what's in it for them, right? Be showing how it's going to impact them, how it's going to improve their life, how it's going to benefit them. And then they're going to engage. right? Because I don't want to use the word self-centered because it has negative connotations, but essentially our marketplace is fairly self-centered. You know, they're only really interested.
But it's engagement. It's engagement, and it's what's going to interest somebody. If you're talking about something that nobody's interested in, then you're not going to get engagement. But if you're talking to your people that are following you, your friends, and you know what they're interested in, then talk about things that they're interested in or they could be interested in or what's going to help them. You know, and a lot of people, it is just about them. You know, it's like, I do this. And that's great if your friends are interested in it and you can engage them in it. But yeah, you do have to be careful. You have to be giving people content that they want, that they're interested in, that they want to talk about, that they want to learn from. I think that's a big tip too, isn't it?
Look, it's huge. And I think it comes back to, this is the greatest target marketing, most powerful targeted marketing platform in the history of the planet. But if you don't know what target to hit, then it's going to be useless in your hands. So you need to understand your target market. You need to be able to put yourself in their shoes and figure out exactly what it is that they're looking for. What are they doing? What are they engaging with? And the best thing is Facebook gives us tools. If you jump into Audience Insights in Ads Manager, you can actually go and see, you can look at the people who are engaging with your page, and then you can go and see what other pages they engage with. And so you can build a list of interests and get an idea of, you know, the level of interest and what actually engages them, what kind of content engages them. And then you can tailor your content to suit that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, brilliant. Good. All right,
cool.
Awesome. So what's our next tip? What are we up to now?
Number 5. Look, we've got...
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Hey, I am the tangent king.
It's
right? Like, let's just have a beer. And
me too. Me too.
Right.
There's a butterfly. That's what I'm like.
Ooh, shiny object. So, and look, in my defense, a number of my shiny objects have turned out to be some of the most amazing things I've ever built or done too. You know, like sometimes it's good fun.
Yeah,
look, we've been really serious. There's been a whole lot jammed at you guys. So the last one I want to give you, particularly on Facebook, is, you know what? Have fun. You know, it's a social platform, right? And think about when you're out playing golf with your mates, or you're at the pub with your mates, or you're hanging out together watching movies, or whatever it is you're doing, you're having fun. And this is something that I think a lot of marketers forget, and the best marketers actually understand, that social media it's social. So people want to have fun. They want to be entertained. They want something that's going to make them laugh and that is authentic. You know, actually, Lisa, you know, one of the best campaigns for my webinars that I've ever ran?
Ironing a shirt.
It had an image of me ironing a shirt. Right? And it was,
how do I know that?
It was tongue in cheek. I wrote the ad, and it was, I had this awesome idea while I was ironing my shirt. Yes, I iron my own shirts, occasionally, sometimes, maybe. And it was a candid photo that was taken of me while I was ironing a shirt for an actual photo shoot where I was doing a whole lot of profile shots. And we sort of cut it out and put it on an image of a really nice house, and that just to sort of make sure we got the attention of our target market. But that ad killed it. It just absolutely killed it, because it's just tongue in cheek. It's fun, and I think that's what's most important, is you've got to have a bit of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you'll attract people that have fun too.
Yeah,
that's what it's about as well.
That's it. Then you start enjoying what you actually do.
All right. So where do you see, this is the last question, is where do you see real estate going in the next, say, 3 years, like online?
I think we're heading into a really, really interesting period. I think it's going to be a very conflict-driven period. And by that, I mean, look, there's going to be a big battle between portals and agents for every last dollar out of a commission check. I think we're seeing that already. And the thing is that agents are going to need to understand and to really wise up to what they're capable of in the digital marketing space. They don't realize it yet. They actually have more power than the portals in the digital marketing space.
Yes.
And the portals, look, they've been an amazing tool, but they're not the only show in town anymore. Digital marketing is something that every agent can get their hands on and either hire someone decent, and please hire someone. Don't hire a fake guru, right? Like, go check out the credentials. I'm Facebook certified. I'm a Facebook certified professional, which means Facebook have put me through exams, the whole works, to make sure I know what I'm talking about. there's only a handful of them, but go and check their results too. Go and look at their ad campaigns and actually see the results and have a little bit of an understanding yourself. But the power is definitely there for the agents to take, but most agents haven't yet realized that they're still in this sort of zombie-like state that the portals are the only show in town, and they're not. And the portals are also very much like the Titanic. Digital marketing is an iceberg, and the Titanic was very, very slow to turn. And that's one of the biggest benefits that agents have right now.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, it's look, agents over the next 3 years, if you set down a personal growth and professional growth and development plan, as an agent, you need to become good digital marketers to survive and thrive. You need to have an understanding of the platform. Now, you might sit there and go, you know what, John, I don't want to have an understanding of the platform. I don't want to click the buttons and create the ads. No worries. I fully understand that. Agents are busy as hell. You guys have got to be a jack of all trades. You've got to master everything essentially to a certain degree of skill. But understand the platform. Do the learning to understand what the platform is capable of so that you can hire the right person to do it for you.
Yes. 100%.
Right? That's vital.
Because John, I'm so passionate about this, and it's a lot of agents just cover their ears and la 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 la. I don't want to hear about it. And like, I'm a coach on Samantha from Elite Agents Transform this year. So I'm actually doing a webinar on this topic, which is how to beat the interceptors. And the interceptors, I call them, are the ones that you type in an agent's name and every other company comes up first, and and we talk about how good they're getting now at organic and organic reach and all that. And it's something I'm so passionate about, because an agent, they don't have to take on the whole world. They can just, they just take on their local area, and it's so much easier, and they don't understand the power that they have.
Actually, Lisa,
and it's like beating your head up against a brick wall to try and tell them, and I don't want to say that in a disrespectful way, but it's more, guys, you've got so much power to take on these people in just your localized area, and you don't understand.
And look, I'm going to try and help them understand it, because I'm 100% on board with you, Lisa. I really am. And the thing is that the way these big companies, these interceptors, and by the way, the interceptors are primarily on Google. They still haven't mastered Facebook yet, right?
Yes, true. 100%. 100%.
And Google's so expensive. Like, we generate 25% of our traffic through Google organically, and we don't spend a cent on Google. Every now and again, I'll do a search to make sure no one's breaching my trademark, because we've had a couple who have tried to use the Check My House Price trademark in their actual Google AdWords, and then they get a very nasty letter. But aside from that, we don't spend any time or money on Google. We let the organics take care of it. With Facebook as an agent, so let's sort of use a little bit of it as a metaphor, and I'll try and help this understanding sink in, Lisa, because what you're saying is so dead right. The big guys have to win a war. And their war is all of Australia, or all of New South Wales, or all of Queensland, or all of Victoria, or all of Western Australia, right? Yeah. The agent only needs to win one battle, and that is their patch.
Yes, exactly.
Now, Facebook
their farm area.
are actually putting the weapons in the agent's hands to win that battle, and I'll explain how. They created, about 18 months to 2 years ago, they created something called a relevancy rating. Now, what Facebook have worked out is that people will spend more time on Facebook if the content, including the ads that they see in their feed, is relevant to them. So the more relevant, the more time people will spend on Facebook. The more time people spend on Facebook, the more money Facebook makes, right? Yeah. So when you've got the big guys coming in and they're trying to win a massive war, and they're going, right, we're going to win Battleground New South Wales. And at best, the best that I've seen is they break it up and they go Sydney, right? And they target all of Sydney plus a 50-mile radius or something to that effect. So there's about 5 to 6 million people in that area, and they target that massive area. Now, when you are in the real estate space, there's somewhere in the vicinity of several hundred postcodes alone in that area. There's thousands of suburbs potentially, because most postcodes have more than one suburb. So you can't be relevant on such a grand scale. because all you can say is, hey, Sydney people and surrounding areas, right? Which it's not going to jump out and grab someone. Whereas if you're an agent in, say, Balmain, for argument's sake, and you go, Balmain property is kicking butt. Anybody who sits there, or Balmain owners are cashing in. Anyone who's a Balmain homeowner is going to go, hey, hang on, this is relevant to me. And that's going to buy you that extra 4 or 5 seconds for them to read what you're actually saying and potentially click through to watch the video and so forth. Whereas,
as you say, sorry.
No, it's all right, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, and as you say, the ad says Balmain residence or Balmain real estate. In the back end, it's targeted to Balmain. So that's the relevancy. Whereas with realestate.com or any of the other ones, it's just Sydney property prices. And I mean, that they have to pay, a lot of money for that, but it's not getting the reach that an individual agent has got the potential to.
Well, that's it. With the individual agent, they're sitting there, and because they're going Balmain, right? Balmain homeowners are cashing in, and they're targeting it to Balmain. Facebook is seeing the results because more people are connecting with it. They're engaging with it. Facebook going, hey, this ad is super relevant. And so they're going to boost it. They're going to keep showing that ad more and more. It's going to get in front of more and more people for the same amount of money it otherwise would. But at the same time, there's only a limited amount of ad space available on Facebook at any given time. So if you're sitting there targeting Balmain with Balmain relevant content, then that huge company that's trying to target all of Sydney plus 80 miles or 50 miles or whatever it is, their ads aren't going to get a look in Balmain because they're nowhere near as relevant as yours. So until your budget's spent, you're keeping them out of Balmain, right? So you actually have the ability to keep the big guys out of your patch if you're smart. And this is the power that Facebook's putting in your hands. It's unbelievable.
And it's only a matter of time, before the big guys start to do that because, it's like Gary Vee said with the Super Bowl, that's they've got the money. So we need to do it beforehand and you've got the relevancy and you've got your target market, you've got all of that. So get in and do it.
That's exactly right. And that's one of the reasons why, when you asked me for tips, I said use video. Because if you can get in now before they're doing it, you establish your position, you establish trust, authority, and so forth, which means you're building your following and you've essentially built an audience that you can go and tap into again and again and again and again. And when they do wake up and realize and start to move in, it's already too late because you've established your position and own that area solidly.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting. That's why I wanted to talk to you. And that's why I wanted to do this interview today, because it really upsets me that, that there's so much missed opportunity and there's so much out there that the agents can achieve and just, the hours that they work and all this sort of stuff, this is a letterbox drop on steroids. It's you know what I mean? It's fine for us sitting on steroids.
Leave the strongman stuff up to me and let Facebook do the heavy lifting for you because that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, that's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today, John. That was amazing. So for those that are interested in contacting you, what's the best website and phone number to reach you on? That you can either help them with the Facebook targeting and all that sort of stuff, like everything.
Yeah, look, the best. Hang on a sec. Sorry, I was itching my throat. The best website to contact on is actually Facebook. You can add me by facebook.com/JHellaby or facebook.com/John.Hellaby.1. Excuse me. Sorry, Lisa, I'm now coughing on your audio. That's just terrible of me. Or you can give me a call, 0416 524 666 is my direct line as well.
Perfect. And I'll put links in and all that sort of thing as well.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. That was awesome.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, Lisa. It's always fun to chat and catch up with you. We've got to go on tour, Lisa. You and I, we're going to go on tour. We're going to do something fun.
We should. But we'll have to, there's a million things. Things. For sure. All right. Thanks heaps, John.
My pleasure. Talk soon.
Thank you for joining us at Let's Talk About Real Estate. I'm Lisa B from Real Estate Hotline. I hope you found plenty of ideas to hack your real estate career. For more information, please go to www.therealestatehotline.com.au and please join our Facebook page at Let's Talk About Real Estate. See you next week. Bye.